Welcome to episode 142 of Build Your House Yourself University by BYHYU. I'm your host and fellow student, Michelle Nelson, and together we'll learn the basics of home design and construction and demystify the building process so we can build quality dream homes with or without a general contractor. I recently got a request from Isabel, who asked if I would do an episode on building a fire-resistant house. For those of us who want to make our homes as safe as possible, incorporating some fire-resistant features is a smart idea. Interestingly, many ordinary, everyday home building materials are either naturally fire-resistant or they can become fire-resistant with a few tweaks. Although most building materials are not 100% fireproof, many materials that we'll talk about today will give your house a fighting chance if it's ever threatened by fire. Homes built with the right materials, the right landscaping layout, and smart detailing have a far better chance of escaping a fire with less damage. Before we move on, I think it's particularly important in this episode that I remind you of our disclaimer. The purpose of this podcast is simply to educate and inform. It's not a substitute for professional advice. The information that you hear is based only on the opinions, research, and experiences of my guests and myself. That information might be incomplete, and it's subject to change, so it may not apply to your project. In addition, building codes and requirements vary from region to region, so always consult a professional about specific recommendations for your home. All right, let's get right into it. This one's for you, Isabel. Thanks for the show idea. Building codes typically require that a home's walls, floors, and roof be fire-resistant in accordance to the standards set by the International Building Code. Regional building codes may be more stringent, depending on the general threat of fire in your area. Fire-resistant homes are designed to contain a fire, keep it from spreading, and give you sufficient time to discover a fire, control it, and evacuate the home if necessary. Fire resistance ratings are expressed in the number of minutes or hours a structure can withstand a fire. According to the Engineered Wood Association, a 1-hour rating indicates that a structure or material can contain flames and high temperatures and support its own weight for at least 1 hour after the fire begins. Exterior fires, which start outside a home or a structure, account for 55% of fires in the western U.S. and 36% of fires in the East. Only 9% of exterior fires are considered natural disasters, while the vast majority of exterior fires start as arson or from open flames that might come from matches or lighters. Fire-resistant construction can buy valuable time for homes, whether or not the source of the fire is natural or man-made. It seems that we in the United States are behind in regards to building fire-resistant homes. In one forum I read, a European man wrote in and said, "We Europeans build only fire-resistant houses with baked bricks or concrete bricks, metal facades, and other materials. The roofs are concrete-colored tiles or metal, nothing that's easy to burn." That European man went on to say that he was amazed at the lack of fire resistance seen in U.S. construction, particularly given that U.S. homes average hundreds of thousands of dollars. So let's educate ourselves about some things that we can do to make our homes more fire resistant. Now, you probably won't incorporate every feature on our list, but the greater the risk of a fire damaging your home, the more features you might want to include. Number 1, build on level ground. This tip is mainly for those of you who live in areas plagued with wildfires. Wildfires generally move faster uphill and slower on level ground. The rate of fire spread can double for every 20-degree increase in slope. And if you're building on a cliff or ridge, position your house at least 30 feet back from the ridge or cliff and at least 30 feet away from neighboring houses. Again, on level ground if possible. Number 2, garages and sheds. Many fires begin in storage sheds and garages where flammable substances such as paint thinners and gasoline are stored. First and foremost, minimize the number of flammable substances you keep on site. For even greater protection, keep the main house detached and at least 30 feet away from garages and sheds so you can minimize spread and damage from any fire that starts outside your home. Number 3, windows. Steel-framed windows fitted with single-pane pyrostop glass will probably give you the greatest amount of fire resistance. Pyrostop glass is rated to withstand fire for up to 2 hours. Here's how pyroglass works. A clear layer of heat-absorbing material inside the glass changes into a super hard material during a fire, reducing the risk of the window breaking. If you don't want to go to the extreme of buying specialized glass, another option is to choose more energy-efficient windows. As a general rule, insulated multi-paned windows withstand fire better than single-paned windows. Triple-pane windows hold up longer than double-pane windows, which hold up longer than single-pane windows in a fire. The outer window pane will typically break in a blaze, leaving the inner layers intact. Having more than one pane also means that the inner layer of glass heats up more evenly and slowly, helping the inner layer resist cracking and breaking during a fire. Tempered glass, like that used for sliding patio doors, has also been found to withstand heat longer than standard plate glass. And in general, smaller window panes survive better than larger ones. Now, what about the window frame? Well, steel offers the best protection, but it's very expensive, and it's not offered by many window manufacturers. The next best options are wood and aluminum, which are said to perform similarly in a fire. Vinyl is the least fire-resistant choice. Avoid acrylic skylights, which can quickly melt during a fire and leave a large hole in the roof. If you live in an area prone to wildfires, you might consider adding non-flammable window shutters to your home, which are similar to hurricane shutters. Number 4, roofs. Install a roof made of Class A fire-rated materials such as metal, clay tiles, slate, or cement composite roofing. If you want more economical roofing options, look into recycled rubber roof tiles or fiberglass-based asphalt shingles. They both offer excellent fire resistance when installed with a fire code compliant underlayment. In fact, make sure that any roof underlayment you use is fire resistant, no matter what type of roofing you choose. If you have your heart set on wood shakes or some other combustible roofing material, you can apply a fire retardant treatment. Those fire retardants won't last forever, though. They have to be replaced and reapplied every 5 years or so. Otherwise, the wood will not stay fire resistant because the fire resistant chemicals leach out over time. Finally, choose a sloped roof, not a flat roof. Roofs with a greater pitch are much more fire resistant than flatter roofs. The steeper the roof, the more protection you'll have. That's because burning embers can easily roll off a steep roof before those embers can start a fire. Number 5, exterior wall cladding. For exterior siding, opt for non-flammable materials such as fiber cement siding, cultured stone, natural stone, brick, or stucco. Naturally fire-retardant brick or stucco walls meet or exceed 1-hour fire ratings, depending on their thickness. A layer of gypsum underneath will slow the transference of heat from the siding to your framing. Fiber cement siding usually carries a Class A fire rating and can withstand 2 to 4 hours of high heat before your home's structure will start to fail. Vinyl siding is not as protective, but it can work as long as all gaps and crevices beneath the vinyl are sealed. Since vinyl siding typically melts and sloughs off during a fire, any unsealed openings and gaps beneath the vinyl will allow fire to get inside your house. Number 6, vents and other openings. Cladding your house in fire-resistant siding won't matter at all if burning embers find their way through cracks, gaps, and other openings. So be sure to enclose eaves, soffits, and fascia with complementary fire-retardant trim. To reduce the chances of burning embers finding their way inside your house through exterior vents, Cover openings such as soffit vents, gable vents, and dryer vents with 1/8 inch metal wire mesh. Cover chimneys with a 1/4 inch wire mesh, if local code allows. Be careful that the mesh that you choose for your chimney does not trap fireplace exhaust gases. You can also put metal screening around your crawl spaces and beneath decks to keep fire and embers out. Number 7, decks. Decks are where fires often start, sometimes from wind-blown embers and sometimes from charcoal falling out of your grill. A fire that starts on an attached deck can easily spread to the home. If you want to use wood decking material, it should be periodically treated with a fire retardant. A maintenance-free choice would be a concrete deck, which is naturally fire-resistant. You could also choose composite decking. Many composites tend not to burn the same way wood does. In many cases, composite decks sort of fall apart and drop to the ground without spreading the fire to the rest of the house. Number 8, landscaping. If your landscape includes trees that will grow large, space them at least 30 feet apart. Place shrubs at least 20 feet from your house and other structures like storage sheds and garages. And keep the area under large trees free of smaller trees and shrubs. That way, if a fire does start in a tree or shrub, it can't spread easily from tree to tree and shrub to shrub. You'll also want to regularly remove dry leaves and branches from your yard and gutters since they can readily catch fire. Number 9, fences. Untreated wooden fences act like kindling to stoke a fire. And if you want a wood fence, you'll have to apply a fire retardant. Alternatively, add a masonry structure that sits between the house and the wood fence, or simply build the fence of masonry or metal. Number 10, framing. Choose traditional concrete blocks, insulated concrete forms, or ICFs, or autoclaved aerated concrete blocks. Autoclaved aerated concrete blocks are building blocks made of aluminum and concrete. They're half the weight of traditional concrete blocks, but they have high insulating qualities. For every square inch of block you use, you get an hour of protection from flames. ICF walls are walls made of 4 to 6 inch thick concrete cores sandwiched between foam insulation. ICF walls can withstand flames for up to 3 hours longer than a wall framed with conventional lumber. Some ICF makers are increasing the fire resistance of their products by adding special flame retardant chemicals to the foam. A more economical option is to frame with traditional dimensional framing lumber that has been treated with a fire retardant. Number 11, doors. Steel garage doors are best for fire resistance. Look for models with a center core made of polyurethane foamed in place insulation. This is a heat-resistant material. Some steel doors also have a protective coating on the door's exterior to help prevent the spread of flames. Steel entry doors are better protection against fires than wood or fiberglass entry doors. Metal doors keep fire out longer. If you really want the beauty of a real wood door, many manufacturers make fire-rated wood doors. Fire-rated MDF doors are also available. Proper weather stripping on the entry door is recommended no matter what type of door you go with. Weather stripping on the bottom of the door will help prevent smoke from entering the house, and as a bonus, it will provide more energy efficiency throughout the year. Number 12, insulation and caulk. Most types of insulation are fire-rated, but mineral wool, also known as rock wool, is one of the most fire-resistant of all of them. It's made of naturally non-combustible fibers that can withstand heat in excess of 1,800 degrees Fahrenheit. Unlike fiberglass insulation, mineral wool does not melt when exposed to high heat. Cellulose insulation is made from recycled paper, so it obviously needs to be treated with fire-retardant additives to protect your home from fire. Many cellulose insulation manufacturers add the non-toxic retardant boric acid. Make sure any insulation you choose is used around electrical boxes and that all gaps are filled because those uninsulated areas are more vulnerable to the spread of fire. Another way to eliminate gaps where fire can move through walls and spread into the rest of your home is by using fire-rated caulk. Caulking gaps around pipes, windows, and doors can help contain fire. Metacaulk is a brand that makes a water-based fire-rated caulk that expands and hardens at about 375 degrees Fahrenheit to seal off voids. Most silicone-based caulks will begin to char and burn at around 300 degrees. Number 13, recessed lights. Look for can lights with special housing that protects against insulation fires. Insulation around hot can lights can cause fires. Special housing units keep insulation away from the hot bulb. And number 14, sprinkler systems. Today's residential fire sprinkler systems are available in sleek, concealed units that won't make your house look like a commercial space. And installing sprinklers in your house may even lower your homeowner's insurance. Systems usually turn on in response to extreme heat in an area. Residential sprinklers can usually extinguish small fires, but very large flames, the sprinklers may only be able to contain the fire until the fire department arrives. Prices vary, but on average, good quality concealed sprinkler heads will run you about $60 each. Plus, you'll have to pay about $1.50 per foot for your fire-resistant CPVC piping. So those are some features that we can include in our new homes to make them more fire-resistant. I think you can see from our list that it doesn't necessarily take a lot of specialized products to protect our homes. Consider adding the things that make the most sense for your budget and level of risk. Well, that's it for me this week. I hope you learned as much as I did, and I hope you'll join me again next time for the next episode of Build Your House Yourself University. BYHYU. Please remember that the purpose of this podcast is simply to educate and inform. It's not a substitute for professional advice. The information that you hear is based only on the opinions, research, and experiences of my guests and myself. That information might be incomplete, it's subject to change, and it may not apply to your project. In addition, building codes and requirements vary from region to region, so always consult a professional about specific recommendations for your home.